Okay, good afternoon, brothers and sisters. Today is Wednesday, April the 1st. It is 2:47 p.m. I'm going to start off with a sound saying, coming from Psalm 66:20, and it says, "Blessed be God, which has not turned away my prayer, nor his mercy from me." Amen. Blessed be God, which has not turned away my prayer, nor his mercy from me. Amen. The back of it is coming from Psalms 92, verse 13. And it says, "Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God." Amen. Those that be planted in the house of the Lord shall flourish in the courts of our God. Amen. We are going to be in the Old Testament today. This story is a couple chapters, and we have to read it back to back because it's a plot. It's aired with deception, lies, disappointment, misunderstandings. It's loaded with courage. The characters here are the king of Persia, Esth.3. His name means prince, head, or chief. Okay, and we have a couple of other characters. Haman, his name means noise or turmoil. And that's exactly what he lives up to his name, turmoil. He calls it this. Esther, very beautiful queen, wife of Esth.3, and her name means star. Okay, she also, her name is originally Hadashi, but it was changed to Esther prior to her becoming queen. Hadashi was her name, and Hadashi means passion, compassion. Okay, Mordecai is also a relative of Esther, and like I say, you see a lot of deception here, a lot of encouragement, a lot of courage, a lot of humiliation. So we have to read the next 3 chapters in order for you to get a big picture of what was going on. No different than the deception of this world. Okay, there's nothing under the sun. Oh, well, there is new things under the sun today. Thanks to the modern technology, we are doing much more evil today. But as far as deception, that is old news. Of even in the biblical time, there was an air of deception going on everywhere. Okay, Mordecai means warrior. Myrrh, which is a tree, was symbolic of love. It was also in Hebrew, the myrrh is a fitting symbol of the recovery and establishment of God's promise. That's number 1. Number 2, the myrrh flower are one of the ultimate symbols of love. Okay. Additionally, the fruit, leaves, and branches were used and can still be used today to make medicine. And this medicine that was made from the leaves, branches, and fruit of this myrrh tree was made to help with lung infections, bronchitis, whooping cough, tuberculosis, bladder condition, diarrhea, persistent heartburn, heavy periods, yeast infections, and worms. So, even in the biblical time, we were more prone to use that which God provided to deal with our ailments, and they always worked well. Of course, the pharmaceuticals companies wouldn't appreciate me telling you this. All right, so these are the characters. Vastus is also another character in this particular story, and she is the wife of the King Ahasuerus, the disrespectful wife of King Ahasuerus. He would call her and she did not come. He would summon her, she did not appear. So she was that kind of wife. And her name means beautiful, but she was just beautiful on the outside and not beautiful on the inside. Whereas Esther is beautiful on the outside, and she was also beautiful on the inside. Okay? Since this is our first time getting a reading from Esther, we're going to do an introduction of Esther, so you'll have a little bit more history of what was going on during the time of Esther. Okay, so we don't know who the author is. It's here it says unknown. But the dates written between 485 and 435 BC, before Christ. Time span 10 years. Title from the book's chief character, Esther. And I did tell you that Esther means star in her Persian name, and in her Hebrew name, Hadassah, means compassion. Okay? Background. The book of Esther takes place during the period of time between the separation return to Jerusalem led by Zerubbabel and Ezra, between chapters 6 and 7 of the book of Ezra. After 70 years of captivity, about 50,000 Israelites returned to their homeland of Jerusalem, but the vast majority determined to remain in Persia. Esther's story takes place against this background while in the king's palace in Susa, which is the Persian capital. Ruth and Esther are the only two books of the Bible named after women. Okay, Esther is a Jewish woman who marries a Gentile, the King Ahasuerus. Ruth, a Gentile woman who marries a Jew. Okay, where written unknown, probably Persia. To the Jews who remain in Persia instead of returning to Jerusalem. Contents. Esther, whose Jewish heritage has been kept secret. Yes, there's a lot of deception in this story. It is a very interesting story, and every time you read it, you can always learn something from it. All right? You can read it over and over again, and you'll learn something new each and every time. All right? Esther, whose Jewish heritage has been kept secret, is chosen queen to King Ahasuerus of Persia after Vesta is demoted from the same position. Haman, an evil advisor to the king, his name means turmoil, plans to exterminate the Jewish people, but Esther has the faith and courage to carry out the plan of her wise cousin Mordecai and risk her very own life, which resulted in the deliverance of the Jewish people. The Feast of Purim is instituted to remind the people of God's deliverance. Even to this day, there is public reading of the book of Esther during this celebration. Okay, so she has not been forgotten. Key words in the book of Esther is beauty, providence. God has blessed Esther with much outward physical beauty, but it is the beauty of her heart that sets her apart for the providence of God to be shown. It is not by chance that this Jewish girl rises from total obscurity to become the queen of the most powerful empire of the world. The name of God does not appear once in the book of Esther, but God's providence, care, and leading are not to be denied. Okay, you can see God all through, God working his miracles and his doings and his will in this whole fiesta. Okay? Theme. What are they? PowerPoints that we don't need to prove. Okay? First PowerPoint, God may have bigger plans for our lives than we have for ourselves. And this is true. This will always be true. Brothers and sisters, you might have planned to do this with your life, but God had another plan for you. I certainly didn't have a plan of doing this. No. Okay? This was not in my plans at any time in my life. All right? So God's plans will always prevail our own. Always. And if you try to run away from God's plan, you will end up reading Jonah. If you try to run away from his plans, you will end up reading Jonah. There will be times when I would take the Bible and do this, trying to avoid the story of Jonah. And no matter how hard I tried, when I flipped the page, it would end up at Jonah. I would get so frustrated, brothers and sisters, because I just had no desire at all. I would always tell my God that he had plenty of people out there preaching his word. These was my word to him. Those were the words I would say out loud. In Richmond, Virginia. Okay, let's continue. So his plan for our lives will always prevail. Always. Okay, you might have planned to run into entertainment. You ended up being a lawyer or a doctor. That was his plan for you. All right? You might have went through training camp for a Marine or a training camp for an Army. You ended up doing something totally different. That was his plan for you. All right? So his plan for us will always prevail our own. God may have bigger plans for our lives than we have for ourselves. Number 2, God may put us into position of leadership or influence so we can more thoroughly accomplish for his purpose. Amen. God's answer prayers and fasting by enabling us to overcome our human obstacles. Amen. Because we cannot do it on our own accord. We can do nothing without God. Nothing. Not even getting that job that you love so well. Not getting through school. Not whatever it is that you think you have accomplished on your own accord. God has been there for you every step of the way. Whether you believe it or not. All right? So God's providency provides for his own. Okay. God answers prayers and fasting by enabling us to overcome our human obstacles. Amen. And God providency provides for his own. Okay. God uses ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary things for him. God particularly likes peculiar people. He likes those peculiar ones. The ones that the world will ignore. John the Baptist was one of the most peculiar ones. And so is Miss Guerrero. Okay? God uses ordinary people to accomplish extraordinary things for him. The last one is God at times may have to discipline us. Yes, he will. As he did Jonah. As he would have Miss Guerrero if she would have had her way, because my way was to go back home to my country. And every time I thought about it and I opened the Bible, I ended up reading Jonah. Which meant to me, my boat, wherever boat I was on, whatever ship I was on, whatever airplane I was on, would not make it to its destination. frightening event, frightening concept to even consider. Okay, so God at times may have to discipline us, but he will never abandon us. Never. Men will abandon you much faster. Children, parents will abandon you. Parents have put their children in trash cans. Thank goodness to the trash man. At people's doorsteps, in the water, not just in the biblical time, but also today. People throw their children in water and put them in all kinds of places. All right? So that's man for you. So don't put too much trust in man at all. At all. All right, so let's go into the reading. We're going to start off with chapter 3. Okay, and we're going to read 3, 4, 5, and 6 consecutively for the next 3 days. Okay, because this story is not told in the first, how many verses is in chapter 3? The first 15 verses. No, we can't cover it. Chapter 4 is 17 verses. Chapter 5 is 14 verses. Chapter 6 is where we will stop. No, 7 is 14 verses. So the verses are fairly short. But it's a very good story indeed. And chapter 7 is where we will stop with this Esther story. All right. So in chapter 3, Haman plots to have all Jews killed. Okay. So Hitler was not the first person who had a vendetta against the people of God. He was the modern day version of Haman. All right. But in the biblical time, this joker here was a mess. All right. So it's going to be 15 verses, And in this particular chapter, it is all silver for history and black for sin. And as always, we will read it from this book as well. All right. So let's start from verse 3. Verse 1 to 4 is silver for history. Haman plots to have all Jews killed. After these things did King Ahasuerus promote Haman, the son of Hammedatha, an Agorite, and advanced him and set him his seat above all the princes that were with him. 2. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, which he loved, for the king has so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not. Okay, here comes when trouble starts right here. This is when the trouble starts, because this creates a bitterness in the heart of Haman against this Jewish man, Mordecai, who wasn't bowing down to him at all. Okay? And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed and reverenced Haman, for the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not, nor did he reverence him. He had no respect for the man. Couldn't stand him. Okay? 3. Then the king's servants which were in the king's gate said unto Mordecai, why transgressest thou the king's commandment? Okay, why are you sinning against the king's commandment? They're in his ear because it was noticeable. All right? 4. Now it came to pass when they spoke daily unto him, so daily they were in his ear. Okay? And he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai matters would stand, for he had told them that he was a Jew. All right, let's read it from here. Haman's plot to destroy the Jews. After these events, King Cyrus, it says it here, honored Haman the Hammedatite, the Agagite, elevating him and giving him a seat of honor higher than that of all the other nobles. 2. All the royal officers at the king's gate kneeled down and paid honor to Haman, for the king had commanded this concerning him. But Mordecai would not kneel down or pay him honor. 3, verse 3. Then the royal officials at the king's gate asked Mordecai, why do you disobey the king's commandment? 4. Day after day they spoke to him, but he refused to comply. Therefore they told Haman about it to see whether Mordecai's behavior would be tolerated, for he had told them he was a Jew. 5, 6 is black for sin. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not, nor did he reverence, then was Haman full of wrath. 6, and he threw scorn to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had shown him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even the people of Mordecai. So now he is so upset with this one man that he is ready to destroy all of his kind. Okay, 5 and 6. When Haman saw that Mordecai would not kneel down or pay him honor, he was enraged. 6. Yet having learned who Mordecai's people were, he scorned and the idea of killing only Mordecai. Instead, Haman looked for a way to destroy all Mordecai's people, the Jews throughout the whole kingdom of Cyrus. 7. Back to history. I'll read that alone because it's history. In the first month, that is the month of Nisan, in the 12th year of King Ahasuerus, they cast pur, that is the lot, before Haman from day to day, and from month to month, to the 12th month, that is the month Adar. Okay, I'll read 7 by itself. In the 12th year of King Xerxes, the first month, the month of Nisan, they cast the pur, that is the lot, in the presence of Haman to select a day and month, and the lot fell on the 12th month, the month of Adar. Okay, 8 and 9 are black again. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the people in all the provinces of thy kingdom, and their laws are diverse from all people, neither keep they the king's laws. Therefore it is not for the king's profit to suffer them. Okay, now he's whispering little things into the ear of the king. Okay, 9. If it please the king, let it be written that they may be destroyed, and I will pay 10,000 talents of silver to the hand of those that have the charge of the business to bring it into the king's treasure. Okay. We'll continue to 10. And the king took his ring from his hand and gave it unto Haman, the son of the Hammedatite, the Agagite, the Jews' enemy. 11. And the king said unto Haman, the silver is given to thee, the people also, to do with them as it seemed good to thee. Now, so far the king is not thinking that this man has any evil intentions. Okay, he's thinking he's doing that which is good for the kingdom, for his own kingdom. Okay, so let's read it from 8 to 11. Then Haman said to King Xerxes, there is a certain people dispersed and scattered among the peoples in all the province of your kingdom, whose customs are different from those of all other people, and who do not obey the king's law. It is not in the king's best interest to tolerate them. 9. If it please the king, let a decree be issued to destroy them, and I will put 10,000 talents of silver into the royal treasury for the men who carry out this business. So 10. The king took his signet ring from his finger and gave it to Haman, son of Hammedatha, the Agagite, the enemy of the Jews. 11. Keep the money, the king said to Haman, and do with the people as you please, Lord God. Okay, 12. Then were the king's scribes called on the 13th day of the first month, and there was written according to all the Haman had commanded unto the king's lieutenants and to the governors that were over every province, and to the rulers of every people of every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, in the name of King Ahasuerus was it written and sealed with the king's ring. Okay, let's read 12. Then on the 13th day of the first month, the royal secretaries were summoned. They wrote out in the script of each province and in the language of each people or all Haman's orders to the king's satraps, the governor of various provinces, and the nobles of the various people. These were written in the name of the king Cyrus himself and sealed with his own ring. 13. Black. And the letters were sent by post into all the king's province to destroy, to kill, and to cause to perish all Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, even upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month Adar, and to take the spoils of them for a prey. 13. Dispense were sent by carrier to all the king's province with order to destroy, kill, and annihilate all the Jews, young and old, women and little children, on a single day, the 13th day of the 12th month, the month of Adar, and to plunder their goods. 14 and 15 is silver. The copy of the writing for a commandment to be given in every province was published unto all people, that they shall be ready against that day. 15. The post the post went out, being hastened by the king's commandments, and the decree was given in Shushan, the palace, and the king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city Shushan was perplexed. Okay, so we're going to read 14 and 15 from here. A copy of the text of the edict was to be issued as law in every province and made known to the people of every nationality, so they would be ready for that day. 15. Spurred on by the king's command, the carriers went out, and the edict was issued in the cathedral of Susa. The king and Haman sat down to drink, but the city of Susa was bewildered, okay, because there were many, many Jews there, okay. Anytime, even in today's world, when you purposely attempt to do an evil thing, that evil thing that you attempt to do, if God has his hand in it, will bounce back to thee. Always, brothers and sisters, watch what you do. Because it is said, we what? We reap what we sow. So if you go around here sowing evil, evil will fall upon your pay. What is your pay this year? So this is what Haman was doing. He was sowing evil. And in the end of this story, you will see that all the evil he has done will fall upon his own pay. Please join us tomorrow in the continuation of this beautiful story that teaches a lot about life that we can incorporate in our lives. Thank you very much for listening to the first portion of this story. And like always, may the peace of God be upon you. May the protection of God surround you, especially during these times. And may the will of God for your life come from thee. Thank you for listening. My name is Brenda Guerrero.